Oh, we're live.
The hangout is live, Jerry. I didn't even get a chance to breathe, for God's sake. How come it just creeps up on you like this now? Fuck's sake, I didn't even get a chance to prepare. Just fucking went live right away. Jesus fucking Christ. Are we live for real or
yeah,
what?
we're live, yeah.
Jesus
Worldwide.
Christ. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Fuck's sakes, that's quick, eh?
Yeah, I didn't even know you could do hangouts that quick.
Fuck, I just opened it. I send you the link. Are you ready to go? I'm like, okay. And then boom, shit, no. Wasn't ready, damn it. But whatever, we're live now. Ladies and gentlemen, I have my man, General Jerry, in the house there. We're going to be talking about the draft, the full results there. I stayed up till 11 to watch the rest of the results on the network and shit. And we're not just going to give you the results. We're going to give you our analysis on top of that. Not just an opinion, not just our thoughts, but our full-fledged analysis, Jerry. What do you think it is?
Full professionalism at its best here in the YWC, WJ.
TV,
full professionalism.
If TV cracks can put analysis in the title, then so can I, Jerry. Fuck this fucking garbage there. All right, so Jesus Christ, I didn't even get a chance to roll the joint, for God's sake. What the fuck's going on here, Jerry?
I didn't even know, like, so did you just click on it and it just automatically just went live?
Usually it starts to load 3% and then you hit the button yourself, you know. But now it just, you're going live, buddy. You ready? I'm like, it says okay or cancel. I hit okay and we were instantly friggin' live there. So didn't even get a chance. Me and Jerry didn't get a chance to talk about what we were going to do or anything, but we're live. We got some viewers now, so that's right, folks. Our WWE draft there. Just give me 5 seconds. I wasn't ready for this shit. Jerry, talk to the people about your day there. Fuck. Waste 2 minutes of everybody's talking, Jerry.
So for anyone who's just joined, WJ clicked live. Well, he didn't click live; it automatically went live straight away. So WJ was like, as soon as I popped in, Jerry, I think we're going live. All right, we're live. So we're live now. So WJ has just prepared himself, but yeah, we're gonna be talking about the draft and all that shit. So should be a good show. But yeah, SmackDown I thought was a bit disappointing, to be honest with you. But yeah, but we'll get to that once WJ comes back. So anyway,
the matches weren't that good on SmackDown there. Main event was okay, but
it was just a repeat of what we seen. And I've been watching a few people and what they were saying about it, and some of them do make some great points. Is that you're gonna put the championship on the line on Raw and SmackDown, but does it really make a difference because they have to defend it in a triple threat? Oh, but they get advantage because they have champion, because they're the champion. No, the whole point of the triple threat is for the champion to be at a disadvantage. So if you're facing let's just say you're Seth Rollins and you're facing Dean Ambrose, you might as well let him win, right? Because it doesn't matter. You're still gonna compete against him on Sunday with Roman Reigns there. So you might as well concert your energy. Like, I'm talking in like a realistic terms. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know, but
it's a big confusing pile of trash here, Jerry. Let's get right into this fucking shit there. We're gonna go with Raw. We're gonna give you our big expert analysis. I got a joint on the go now, Jerry. I'm ready. Fuck, I'm primed for this shit there.
All right.
So the Raw roster, this might take a little while there. This is why I went live. I know Bruce Blitz owns the copyright of Google Hangouts there, but hopefully his fans can give me permission to use a feature that Google gave to everyone, please.
Do you have the trademarks? Is the Fine Brothers trying to sue you now because did they copyright did they copyright the Hangouts or WJ?
Every time
The
I
Fine
go
Brothers?
live, it's the same shit. The Bruce Blitz here. The Bruce. All right, so the Raw roster. The first pick of the night was Seth Rollins. Talk about trying to make a guy look better than he truly is, aren't you? here's our first pick. Yeah, okay. Bullshit.
We're off to a good start.
The guy brought us from a 3 to a 1.9. Here's the star here. This is the star. But Seth Rollins, obviously good wrestler. He's he's at least a main eventer. That's what they tell us, Jerry. I don't know.
The thing is with Seth, right? It's not personally him. It's what they did in terms of storylines beforehand. If you remember, like when Seth Rollins started off, he legitimately did look good when he had that curb stomp, right? He was like curb stomping people through fucking gravel and all that type of stuff, right? The problem was, though, once they took away the curb stomp, for whatever reason, they started making Seth Rollins look like The Miz. If anyone remembers The Miz when he was WWE champion, he would hide behind Alex Riley and run away from the whole confrontation, right? Now, you have to bear in mind, you have to make Seth Rollins, you have to put him over, right? So you want to make him look legit, okay? He's a champion. You have to make him look like as if he can beat people, right? However, he's complaining, like, fighting people, and he's complaining. And not only that, but he's hiding behind the Authority, which at that point in time was irrelevant at this point. People were getting sick of the whole Authority angle. And not only that, but people were just bored of him, and he was like running away from problems, and then he was getting beat up by Jon Stewart, and it was leading up to this point, his kind of title run. And here's the thing, a lot of people were so happy about Seth Rollins coming back, and so was I, but in the back of my mind, I'm saying people are eventually going to turn on him again, because last time it didn't work because he was portrayed as a card. Do you remember they had, it was for 5 months he was having a feud with Kane? Do you remember that? Him and Kane, oh, I don't like you. Well, I don't like you. It was just boring. And that's the problem with Seth. It's not the actual person. The guy has great ability, okay? But it's just his actual character portrayed on screen is absolutely terrible. But hopefully they do something different. But again, he's now on Raw. He's all friendly with Stephanie. And it looks like they're going to do this whole thing again.
Do you think?
I hope they don't do it again.
Yeah, Go ahead, Jer.
No, sorry, go on ahead.
I think he's a better fit on Raw than SmackDown. You know what I mean? Because of Stephanie, mostly, I guess, and I don't know. They need as many stars, but they made a few mistakes, I think, there because. And Seth Rollins is a guy that just became a main eventer, and he's one of the biggest stars on the show. It's like this shit's gonna be problematic. There's nobody on Raw. The roster's thin as fuck.
It really is. Here's the thing. When I heard that they were doing this whole brand split, a part of me was happy, right? But a part of me was saying, yeah, but there's nobody really in WWE that much, for it to... The only way they could have done this was the whole, was transferring some of the NXT people over, right? Now, obviously, they don't want to take everyone from NXT, because if they take everyone away from NXT, then the NXT roster is going to look very weak, okay? Because NXT, a lot of people seem to like that thing, okay? But at the same time, it's even so, they took only 6 people out of NXT. And even that, there isn't that much depth. The problem is right now, and by the way, WJ, did you hear about Cesaro? He did a real shoot. I think it was yesterday or Monday. He did a real shoot.
About how
remember his promo?
voted earlier in the night. Is that what I saw, possibly?
That was actually a real shoot. I was watching ODQ and they posted saying that it is in fact a real shoot. What Cesaro says, and listen, they need to put the microphone on Cesaro more, because I actually prefer it when he's talking like this, and he's probably going to get in trouble for it. But what he essentially said was, live on air, he turned around and said, "Listen, it's all well and good for you know, all people are talking about the general managers, but nobody's talking about the actual stars. That is the problem with this draft. People are talking about Daniel Bryan, Mick Foley, Shane, and Stephanie. Nobody's talking about the main roster. Nobody. The primary thing, and this is the problem that I have, is that Stephanie, Vince, Hunter, and Shane, for whatever reason, are the primary focus, and the superstars are less so. You understand what I mean? And I don't see why they're doing this. They need to. Listen, why is all the storylines surround the McMahons? All the main stuff for the past year or 2 years since this authority's come in, since Triple H and Stephanie did this authority, right? For whatever reason, all the main storylines throughout, regardless of whatever challenger it is, it revolves around the McMahons. Can we please have a story that involves the actual wrestlers? No McMahon's involved. I don't see why they're doing this, but
Rollins will probably be in the main event all year, I imagine. Who else is there, for God's sake?
Who else got in Raw? Like, I know Raw.
We'll get to those fuckers pretty soon. There, we got Charlotte. Charlotte's going to Raw. It's she's the
horse face.
The horse face. They needed someone that could run fast, Jerry. I guess we need a horse here, but I guess she's the main woman on the card. She's got the belt. They put her on Raw. I guess the main show is SmackDown gonna have its own women's title again. See, that's the problem. A lot of these belts were merged together, and now they have to split them up again. So what are they going to do? How are they going to do it? Women's title and the other roster, they'll have to find a new name for women, just like they did with the Divas title. They created that belt. Well, they'll have to come up with a new nickname, because how are they supposed to divide the belt? Raw Women's Champion and SmackDown Women's Champion, it won't really make sense. And if you put the belt on one show, what happens to the girls on SmackDown? You know what I mean?
The only thing that they can do with that is, first of all, some of the women, I believe, the problem is with the Divas Revolution was that they had Charlotte, right, as a champion, or whether it would be Nikki Bella or whatever. However, what they did, for whatever reason, they had 15 girls around the storyline, so they're literally standing there like waiting on a bus. So the main storyline would happen, but they would have all these divas that shouldn't be in the storyline and have them involved, right? What they could technically do is maybe develop an actual storyline for just primarily for women on SmackDown and try and do that. But again, there's no stakes if there's no championship. So they may have to come up with a new belt. The same applies. Like, I heard some people saying that there shouldn't be another belt on SmackDown. I'm sorry, but there needs to be. What's the point watching SmackDown if there's no main championship?
Yeah,
what is the point? Like, I heard people say this. I'm like, as people out of their goddamn minds? How am I going to be invested in watching SmackDown, right, if there's no main championship there? Or am I going to tune in for the Miz was it Miz is the Intercontinental Champion on SmackDown? I think
but he might lose it to Darren Young. I'm thinking maybe Raw ends up with every title after the pay-per-view, and possibly SmackDown will have a bunch of tournaments, and hopefully they'll do something like that. They need 2 world champs You can't have a fucking group without a title. That'd be fucking stupid. And the Intercontinental title isn't worth shit anymore. If they have SmackDown exclusive pay-per-views and the Intercontinental title is the main event, shit's gonna look bad there. You know what I'm saying? Who wants to see this?
Well, I was looking at reports on some of the sources, like the wrestling sources, and apparently, I think it was Dave Meltzer. He was saying that apparently WWE at this point have no clue what they're going to do with championships at this point in time, so they have no idea what they're going to do. Apparently, obviously, they've changed, for anyone who doesn't know, they've changed the WWE title, what was known as the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now they're just calling it the WWE Championship. So you would presume it would be called the World Heavyweight Champion, right? The thing is, though, is that because this triple threat, it's kind of fucked things up a little bit, because no matter what, Roman and Seth are going to go to Raw, right? So more than likely, Seth or Roman's going to win the title, right? But what's going to happen to Dean? Even if they put the World Heavyweight Championship on Dean, they're going to say, hey, this is the weak guy that got beat by the other guys in the Shield. But, he's really good, but he's a world champion. There's no legitimacy behind it. So I don't know how they're going to go about this. I don't even know how they could even... Maybe they could have came up with a storyline to split the title where Vince McMahon says, you have to split the WWE World Heavyweight Championship into two belts or something. Just do something. But it's kind of like, oh, here's the belt. There you go, Dean. All right, go be in the main event. All right, there you go, Seth. Where you go. This draft right now feels so rushed, and it just smells of desperation from WWE. I can smell Vince McMahon's shitty knickers all the way here from Ireland. He is so goddamn desperate. It's unbelievable.
Speaking of desperation, here's an interesting one. Finn Balor, very good wrestler, but when people talk about good indie wrestlers who have zero personality and they can't talk, Finn Balor kind of personifies this, because that's exactly, he's a good wrestler, but no character, no charisma. And there's that. And here's the thing, they draft Finn Balor. Was he number 5 in the draft?
I think so. Yeah.
So basically, they're presenting him like he's one of the big shots that's going to be on Raw. You know what I mean? There's hardly any main eventers. They're putting Finn Balor as the number 1. Their number 3 pick on Raw. It was their 3rd pick, I believe, after Charlotte. So shouldn't they push this guy for at least 5 minutes before presenting him as the number 3 draft pick for the show? Shit like this, because it might come out being all hype, you know what I mean? Because sometimes that happens. If a guy has huge hype, people are going to expect a lot, and if he can't really wrestle to his full potential on Raw and he has zero mic skills, well, he does have the paint. He has a Jeff Hardy visual charisma. You know what I mean? Jeff, it's all about how he looks, Jeff Hardy. He's not really good on the mic, but it's his look, shit like this, and him, it's the same kind of thing, the makeup and his aura. He was in Japan, stuff like this, but he's not really good on the mic. But the way it's positioned, it looks like he's going to be one of the big names on Raw. What do you think of this, Jer?
I actually, here's the thing, right? Obviously, I'm a little biased because of marriage, so I like Finn Balor because he's not. Here's the thing. Over the past few years, a lot of people will know, Shadow Man probably knows, and NF Punk, as well as a lot of other Irish people that are in the YWC, will know that Irish people in WWE were presented as leprechauns, people that wore green all the time, ginger, spiky hair, and they were very stereotypical. Finn Balor essentially is the very first Irish wrestler, born Irish wrestler, that isn't presented as a leprechaun, right? And that's why I like Finn Balor, because he's not a stereotypical Irishman, okay, that WWE like to perceive. For anyone who doesn't know, originally Vince McMahon wanted Sheamus to be a drunken Irishman, and Sheamus said, no, hell no. And it's probably a good thing they didn't do that. But the thing is with Finn Balor is that he can be good on the microphone. I've seen a few. Again, I don't want to do this whole indie thing where I checked out New Japan Pro Wrestling and all that. There, he was good in the microphone in New Japan Pro Wrestling. The problem is with WWE at this moment is a lot of these indie guys, usually they don't have a script when they're talking in the indie circuit. So when it actually comes to the main roster, they see all these scripts. So they're talking, they're like, wait a minute, did I miss a line? And then it comes off as nervous talking. That's what I think WWE have a problem with. It comes off as nervous talking. And that's why I think Finn Balor maybe might not suit that. Maybe he might be training all that now. Maybe he's suited to it. But again, you know, like I said, what he does in NXT, that's great, but it all depends on what he does on Raw. He needs to come across as someone that's exciting, and I hope to God it's 50-50. It's 50-50 whether it be good. They are putting a lot of stock into this guy, so we'll have to wait and see.
I saw somebody who wrote, I believe it was on Twitter or YouTube, I don't remember there, but somebody writes, well, they got Finn Balor for their new cruiserweight division, something like this. But do you think Finn Balor is going to win the world title in 2016 on Raw? Because, well, I'm going to get back to the main event situation once we do a couple names, but Finn Balor, does he have potential? Are they going to grab this guy and stick the belt on him right away, or what? How is this going to work with?
They may have to, because, and again, it's WWE very desperate for another guy to be in that main event kind of category. First of all, AJ Styles, they had a chance. Like, he is technically in the main event with John Cena, but this whole club thing's kind of watered him down. That's good they separated him. But in terms of Finn Balor, like, he might need to be in there because, let's be honest with you, fucking Roman Reigns had the championship, all-time low rating. Seth Rollins had the championship, all-time low rating. Dean Ambrose had the championship, all-time low rating. It's very clear that the members of the Shield aren't getting a lot of investment for the casual fans, like, you know, the casual fans that literally just surf through the channels and they click on it. They're not attracting that type of audience. Maybe Finn Balor might attract maybe, you know, some people that are channel surfing and they see him with a face paint. It's just kind of the same with Jeff Hardy. He kind of had that. People were flicking through and they went, what's this guy wearing face paint? It's very different. I think what Finn Balor does is it's very different. However, it's kind of like maybe when he opens his mouth, it might be like, oh, shit, there we go. Turn that off. We'll watch Desperate Housewives there. And that's what I'm a bit worried about. So, but honestly, I think Finn Balor, it's 50-50 at this point, whether he's going to be good or not. But I do believe that he might be, I think he will win a championship at some point. Because I think that because they've kind of separated these brands, then they're good. I think they're going to have a storyline between Seth and Finn Balor. I think Seth's going to win a championship and he's going to have a match against Finn Balor. I think that's what they're going to do next.
Roman Reigns, Jerry. So if they got John Cena going on SmackDown, they got Roman Reigns on Raw. We know what, you know. We know that McMahon really likes his big, sexy Roman there. That's another guy. That's another guy who would probably fail a drug test in UFC there. But just saying, Roman Reigns is probably going to be the face of Raw. You know what I mean? And that might spell trouble there. You know, the fans don't like this guy. And if you put him by himself on Raw there with nobody but Seth Rollins and possibly Finn Balor and a few others that I'll talk about later, I think there's going to be problems here, Jerry, if they put him as the face of Raw for real. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing with Roman. it's not all bad, and I'll tell you why. The only way that they can get out of this, all right, is turn Roman heel. That is the only way they get out of this predicament. Roman Reigns, if Roman Reigns were a heel, he would be a masterclass right now if he was a heel, because he is so hated, even by casual fans. He is so hated that I think if listen, see if Roman returns, right, and they push him as a face again, then that's it. I've lost all hope for this company. They have a perfect opportunity for Roman to turn heel. The Rock, for example, I'm not comparing Roman Reigns to The Rock, by the way, before anyone goes crazy, right? But The Rock originally, when he came to WWE, was hated, all right? He was massively hated. What did The Rock do? He became a heel. He got over as a heel, and he actually got over organically. Roman Reigns is not getting over organically. So what they need to do is have Roman Reigns as a heel, bash the crowd, hell, have him bash the internet fans, generate even more heat, and then eventually he'll get over. That's what I think. That is the only way this is going to work out. Maybe this is a silver lining for him. Maybe this whole scenario that's happened. I think the only way he gets out of this is if he's a heel. That is the only way they can get out of this. If they don't turn him heel, then they're screwed. They're fucked. They're completely fucked. That's it.
Like Roman Reigns at this point in time, he's gonna get real hate from the fans. You know, it's genuine hate, you know, that the fans have for him. But I don't know if he has the charisma to be a big face heel, like you know, like Ric Flair was a big face heel star of the company back in the day. Of course, I don't want to compare him to one of the greatest or whatever, but I don't know if he has that kind of charisma. You have to put the other guy over at the same time. You have to be the ring general or whatever when you're the heel. And like Roman Reigns he's getting better in the ring, but for charisma wise, I don't know. That's not improving. That he needs charisma for the heel to be a good heel. I don't know.
He I seen him getting interviewed, and when he was talking, it was actually 10. Like, seeing he's not in front of a crowd, he is actually great talking. What I believe is, again, I think it's this whole scripted shit that they have in wrestling now, where they have to follow bullet points to come across on television. So because they're thinking of the script in their head, they're not thinking, what does the crowd actually want to hear that's out of my mouth? What I think is maybe after this whole draft thing is to cut some of these wrestlers slack on the scripts, let them just say what they want to say. And for example, I would have Roman go out there, right? This is what I would do, right? This is the perfect opportunity, right? I would have Seth Rollins beat up. Seth Rollins is beating up Finn Balor, right? I'm just giving an example. Seth Rollins is beating up Finn Balor. All of a sudden, Roman Reigns comes in. It looks like he's going to beat up Seth Rollins. Bam, hits Finn Balor with a spear, turns on them, walks away, and that's it. That's what they need to do. And then you could have Roman turn around and say, listen, all you internet fanboys, all you, like, you know, like, I'm talking in terms that would get people under their skin, right? I would have Roman turn around and say, listen, you're all a bunch of basement dwelling people. You go on your internet, you bash me. So guess what? I turn on your favorite internet darling and stuff like that. That's what Roman needs to essentially do. I believe that that's the best way. If I was a general manager there, that's what I would do. But I don't know. I don't know if they'll do that or not. What do you think, Anthony? Do you think am I living in a fantasy land?
Well, the problem is the writers, too. That doesn't help Roman. You know, they have him come out cutting weirdo promos, too, there. So that doesn't help his case. You know, if he has cheap storylines and, well, like you said, like in interviews, he talks normally, so he sounds a bit cooler, more intelligent. But when he talks in the ring, it's like he tries to sound like a tough guy. You know what I mean? So he's like, yeah, I'm Roman Reigns. You know, instead of talking normal, it's I'm Roman. I'm the guy. You know, to try to sound tough. But he sounds like a goddamn idiot. know. The
They've
guy
did,
is
they,
fucking.
they did they did so many. They did so many weird things with him. 1 minute he was a silent type. Then all of a sudden they try to make him funny, like a goofball. Is like, one day a guy in a Jack and the Beanstalk, and then everyone was like, oh Jesus. And then they're doing this guy goes, I'm not the good guy, I'm not the bad guy, I'm the guy, right? And like he's had so many changes, subtle changes, that they're trying to do everything they can to get this guy over, right? They're doing it, but see, this is the problem. They're forcing it. If you're forcing something, it's not going to work. I don't think Roman Reigns is that guy. If, hypothetically, if you are going to do that, I think do what Roman did. Remember when Roman said something so stupid where he said the older fans don't matter or something, or wrestling's for children or something, he said? I believe he said something really controversial, right? I would have him just say that. If he honestly believes that, right? I would have him in the ring and just say it. Because,
that's another thing with heel Roman. He might chase away the fans. If he goes with that legit hatred and turns it into a gimmick, then he could legitimately lose fans. You know what I mean? If he's in your face and insulting fans, fans might take that from a Scott Steiner or a guy that they actually respect. You know what I mean? Fans are gonna take that, they're gonna laugh at it coming from a heel that they enjoy, but if it's some goddamn fucking douchebag, then the fans might not accept it. The same way that fans got pissed off at Triple H because of Bryan. Triple H took real feelings from the fans and he was using that against the fans. So that's why the fans fucking went friggin' mental, like myself included, for a good year against the company, freaking raging and shit, because they took real shit and they tried to rub it in our face, and they lost lots of viewers and the progress there. But in
the process, though, it did help Daniel Bryan. That's what I mean. Like it helped Daniel Bryan at that point. So, but like I said, that is literally the only thing I can think of to help, honestly, to help him. That's legitimately the only way. That is legitimately the only. Here, WJ, can you check your messages real quick?
All right, I'll check that. Brock Lesnar. All right, so Brock Lesnar, he's there once every 6 months, so it makes sense to put him on Raw, big name on the biggest show. You want to advertise him there, but at the same time, these 2 times that he was nailed there for anti-doping. So I don't know there. Is that really what WWE wants to do if he's getting caught for, which looks like steroids? I don't know, but that's what people think. That's what they're gonna think,
What they're saying, what the medication apparently Brock Lesnar took. First of all, that inhaler thing was just, Jesus, I don't know even why they said inhaler. I don't know what the hell they were thinking of. Apparently, the rumored substance is essentially, it's not illegal, right? So it's not like certified. It is technically what might be known as a steroid, but it's like it does raise testosterone, but it's like a different form of steroid, so it's technically legal, right? So I think Brock, seeing as he's seen that as legal, then he took it. But then USADA basically said, nope, it's not. And I think it's the same thing maybe with John Jones. Although I think John Jones, he was on cocaine and shit like that. So it's not really, I don't know what he was doing. But it looks very familiar that he was taking this substance that was essentially banned from, USADA. So That's what I think. I think he wasn't using the purification of a steroid, but I think he was using something in the realm of it that was legal, essentially. And he got caught for it. So, I mean, even Kevin Hart, he's a UFC fan, and even he said, if you cheat, you're going to get caught. So,
like steroids and wrestling, you know, people are used to that. They don't care, you know, but when it comes to legit sports there, when you're in the Olympics or what have you, real sports, when you get caught taking steroids, you become a disgrace in real sports, you know. So imagine when Brock Lesnar, imagine what it's going to look like there if he's like, if it's clear that he was taking roids and WWE starts to promote him, it's going to look, you know, in the eyes of the sports world, it's going to look fucked up, you know, if he is in fact guilty of steroids, you know. But either way, he's going to be on Raw about 5 times a year. So he'll get another 10 shows with Paul Heyman doing the talk for him. So it is what it is there. We got the new
I don't know how.
What's that, Jack?
No, as soon as you said New Day, I just like fucking near had a stroke there when you said New Day. But no, just about Brock Lesnar, I don't know how WWE is going to go about this, because Brock Lesnar is in the front cover of the video game, right? He's the guy in WWE, but as it stands right now, in terms of the main media, he cheated, right? So I don't know how Paul Heyman's going to go about this and say, oh, Brock Lesnar defeated Mark Hunt. Like, I don't know how he's going to do that, but like, Paul Heyman's a talented guy, so I don't know how he's going to go about that, you know?
Like, if wrestling fans can still worship Benoit, then they're going to, I don't think they'll care about Lesnar taking steroids. So, but the New Day, Jerry, I don't know. It doesn't really make a difference what show they end up on. That act is becoming a bit stale, a little at this point there.
Let's see, 2 seconds, WJ.
That's about it. New Day on Raw. Sami Zayn. I expected Sami Zayn to end up on SmackDown. You know what I mean? Like, that's a guy that might possibly become a world champ in the future. Not saying that I want him to be champ, but I just think that's the way it's going to end up if they're going in this indie direction. You know what I mean? I was expecting them to try to build them up on SmackDown, but he's on Raw with the big boys. Is this a guy that they're going to push in the main event, him, Jer?
Not at this point. Not at this point. I think this is the thing, right? I honestly believe, right, that I think, what was I going to say? That I honestly believe that Sami Zayn is a guy that probably will be in the mid-card for a while, but then they might try and do like a Daniel Bryan-esque storyline, okay? And honestly, that's, you know, I think Sami Zayn, to me, I don't think, when I look at Kevin Owens, I can say, okay, maybe this guy's a main event, right? But when I look at Sami Zayn, I go, I don't think he's really, I think he might be a one-off champion at one point in the next few years. I think he'll be like, you know, like what Dolph Ziggler did. He was a one-off champion. I think Sami Zayn is in that realm, to be honest.
Because this is what we have here. Okay. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and that is it for real official main eventers. You have Jericho, that's a former main eventer, but he's not getting pushed in the main event scene right now. You know what I mean? There's guys like Jack Swagger that's on Raw that have had the belt in the past there. But I'm talking real legit main eventers. You have Rollins, Reigns, and Brock Lesnar, who's only going to be there part-time. That's it, that are currently used as real legit main event stars or whatever. You have the Big Show that won. Are they going to resort to that garbage Big Show pay-per-views? They're the crappy Big Show feud that every champ had to go through. Are they going to resort to that? Because all they have is 2 full-time real main eventers. So they're going to have to push some of these guys there. It might be a Finn Balor or a Sami Zayn. They might try to bring back a Goldberg or something. I don't know. Triple H might become more of an active wrestler because they need something. Unless they just have fucking Reigns and Rollins feud for 6 months kind of deal. They might have just Reigns as the champ for 6 months, then Rollins the other 6 months. He's going to have the title. I don't know, but I think they should have to push at least 1 or 2 fucking new guys to put the belt on them, because that's all they have as far as real main event stars on Raw. And Rollins and Reigns just recently became stars, Jerry. They recently put the belts on these guys and told us that they're stars there. You know what I mean?
It's not organic enough. Like this whole Shield thing, it was just the reason why it's such a disaster is that they forced it too much. What they should have done at the start was that Dean Ambrose, right, at that point, before this whole, remember they did the whole goofball storylines with him? Before all of that, Roman didn't stand out. Neither did Seth, really. The one that stood out in the Shield was, for example, was, what was I going to say there? Was essentially Dean Ambrose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Okay, Dean Ambrose was a guy that people were invested in. However, they had him come out, do gimmick, like the whole Chris Jericho thing was a bit gimmicky and stuff like that. Okay, and essentially what happened is that it just ruined the whole thing, and that's what the problem with the Shield was. It was not organic enough, and they just fucked the whole thing up.
Sasha Banks, I guess she's going to win the belt soon and become their face women's champion. So,
Sasha Banks, I like her. I think that she's kind of in that realm of, because you always have a good, like they need a good face for the women's division. I think Paige should definitely, though, because Paige is extremely popular. They should push her maybe more in that main event realm as well. Maybe have Paige heel her against Sasha Banks. I don't know. But at this point, they're going with the whole Charlotte has a championship thing. And I think, with Sasha Banks, I think that she's already elevated. It's just a point now. That's why I think a lot of these women now are on SmackDown is to elevate them to the point where people might care about them. Because if you remember, before this whole brand split, you would have a Divas match for 5 minutes and then that would be it. You know what I mean? So that's what I think that they're going in the realm of.
Chris Jericho, him, he's not currently being used as a main eventer, but they're going to have no choice to use Jericho in the main events. They'll have no choice. Because there's fucking nobody that can main event shows apart from a couple guys. And these guys, Rollins and Reigns, have lost a shit ton of ratings for the company. So I don't know what the fuck they're going to do, man. Really, like the brand split is exciting, but they have 2 guys that are used as main eventers right now. That's it. And Brock Lesnar, that's there once every 4 months, let's say. And Jericho, like I was saying, they're gonna have no choice, I think, to use him in a couple matches for pay-per-view main events. But the thing with Jericho is that he's leaving soon. You know what I mean? Recently there was an article. He said Fozzy was gonna have a new album and he was gonna leave to do that shit next year.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, with Chris Jericho, he is like, here's the thing, right? I think Chris Jericho is probably the only like veteran there that wants to change himself all the time. Like, do you remember like when he debuted on Raw's War? He was like, you know, this whole face thing, then he was a heel, then like, do you remember his SmackDown run where he's this guy that wore a suit, and then now he's kind of got this kind of, I don't know, like a campy rock star kind of thing. I don't know what the hell it is. It's like, but the good thing about Chris is that he's not afraid to kind of change things up. And I think maybe he's doing this to kind of say to guys in the roster, listen, I already have a certified character here. Don't be afraid to change things up. And I think that's what Chris is trying to come across, to try and, you know, get these guys to maybe organically change their character. You know what I mean? But a lot of these guys are just too nervous, I think, to talk. But I think Chris Jericho, to me, I think maybe he might be a heel that might be like some champion that a face can chase. So there's an option there for that. But WJ, is it just me, or is Raw a bit thin? Like SmackDown, because if you look at SmackDown, it has Randy Orton, it has John Cena, it has, I believe, was it Kevin Owens? Is he on SmackDown?
He's on Raw.
Oh, he's on Raw. Yeah, I forgot about that. Then you have, like, there's a lot of guys that are on SmackDown that obviously that you would be interested in, or AJ Styles, like, you would be interested in. But on Raw, it's very thin, like, for a flagship. So I don't know how they're going to do this for 3 hours. And do you think, WJ, at this point, do you think people might just watch SmackDown and not watch Raw?
Well, that's going to be probably the fashion thing to do there. I love SmackDown the most. I'm a SmackDown guy. That's guaranteed to happen. It happened during the first brand split. But the thing about SmackDown is that it feels more enjoyable because it's only 2 hours, you know, and it's not like as important usually, so you don't care as much if it's bad. You don't care as much. It doesn't last as long and stuff, so there's less like cheap promos and stuff like this. But I'm sure people are going to enjoy SmackDown more. There's more main eventers on SmackDown. And Jericho, I was thinking if they gave one, I don't know if it's Triple H's final run with the belt. Who knows? He might even have more in the future. But
I think he will.
Why not put the belt on Jericho one last time for a few months? That wouldn't hurt anybody. It might even bring back a couple of old fans. Probably not, but it's worth a try, you know. I'm sure fans would like it.
I think they're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, to be honest, at this point. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, I honestly... do you know what they need, right? And it's very clear what they need to do. The main thing that they need to do is have the main storyline revolve around the actual main stars, not the McMahons. The McMahons can be, you remember like the general managers in the past? Yeah, they were dicks, but they would make the decisions around the main story, okay? That's what they need to go back to, and that's what Cesaro was kind of hitting at, you know, on that kind of shoot promo, if that makes sense. And I agree with them, because a lot of these main stories, it's Vince McMahon returns to Raw, and then Stephanie and Shane, and then you have their bickering, and it makes no sense, and it's boring, and you know, I don't really care about that. What I want to see is actual storylines with the actual wrestlers, like actual certified stories with the actual wrestlers, rather than it revolving around the McMahons. That's the problem that I have, honestly.
Rusev. Are they simply going to do the United States gimmick for another year with Rusev? Or Like, I could see Rusev possibly being a champ on SmackDown if he was used right. You know what I mean? If he never would have been buried by Cena, I think he could have been at least a world champ on SmackDown, the secondary title or something, you know? But he might just be used as, you know what they should fucking do with Rusev? Have him have another feud with Cena, and this time let him fucking win. Let him get the fucking victory over Cena so we can unbury himself. Because that's what fucked him the first time, you know what I mean?
Do you know what I think they're going to do with Rusev? And I think this would be a great thing to do. I would have Rusev beat everyone up and then have Kurt Angle return. And have Kurt Angle versus Rusev. A United States Olympian versus Rusev. That is what I think that they might do.
That makes a lot of fucking sense. It'd be good. That would be a way to make the US thing feel cool again if he's going against Kurt, you know? Because if he's just beating job guys, then it's just a cheaper version of the first run, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what they need to do, because, like, honestly, I think that they'll do it. I think maybe Kurt Angle originally wanted to join WWE but on a part-time schedule, and I think maybe that's what's best. And I think now with this whole brand split, they might call Kurt up and say, "Listen, that part-time deal, we can give it to you, but just go in for maybe like a lot of months, and then you can take a few months off, and then come back for a few months, and then leave." That's what I honestly believe that they need to do, because Kurt Angle, I think, if there's ever been a perfect opponent for Kurt Angle, is A, Rusev, or B, Jack Swagger. If, like, Jack Swagger, though's been buried to the point of, like, they can try and build him up at some point, but I think those two guys, I think, would be perfect for Kurt Angle. That's what I think anyway, you know?
Mm-hmm. Kevin Owens, Kevin Owens, all right, when he first got on Raw and he beat Cena, this guy just felt like $1 million, you know what I mean? It just looked like it was a star in the making, you know? And after that, the past year, they kind of made him look like a big fat goofball, to be honest. You know, they're having him do like some kind of cheap comedy with what's his name, Sami Zayn, their future champ Sami Zayn. I can't even remember his goddamn name at the time there, but Kevin Owens, they kind of made him look cheap a bit, but I still have hope that this guy could possibly be a world champion, at least the secondary world title guy there. Could Kevin Owens be one of the young guys that might get a push if it's not just fucking hogged by Roman Reigns? Could Kevin Owens possibly get a crack at a world title on
Raw? Yeah. I think it's safe to say Kevin Owens could probably get that. Because, like I said, you got Seth there. I mean, you got Finn Balor there. Obviously, you could have Finn Balor and Owens as a feud. There's a possibility there. If Finn Balor is a champion, you could have Kevin Owens beat him and Kevin Owens, and then you could have Finn Balor chasing the belt for Owens. There's a possibility there. I do believe Kevin Owens will have the belt at some point, either this year or next year. But I do like a lot of people were saying this. I think seeing as Brock is on Raw, I personally believe that they should have they should have Kevin Owens versus Brock Lesnar at some point as well. Maybe that's a possibility. But in terms of him being a champion, I can definitely see I can see Kevin Owens winning it sooner than Sami Zayn.
Enzo and Cass, obviously they're pushing these guys there. They might try to use them as a quote-unquote main event tag team. They're a bit like the New Age Outlaws, you know what I mean? But obviously, they're going to become the big tag team champs eventually, probably right after New Day's finished breaking the record or whatever. But Jerry, it's come to my understanding that you don't like Enzo and Cass there. Tell the people at home why you don't like them, Jerry. Give them your analysis.
All right.
Enzo and Cass fucking suck.
I got so much fucking shit for this, right? But now it's kind of funny because I said this, right, before anyone, like, see when they started, and I knew that it was going to run steel. And everyone turned around and said, oh, Jerry, you just hate everybody. Now people are now seeing what I see, and that they make no sense when they're talking, and it doesn't make any sense. And I don't understand, like, the whole how you doing, and shit like that, right? I understand like, if you like that, more power to you, right? Listen, if somebody actually generally enjoys something in wrestling, hey, more power to you. But personally, for me, I believe that it might run its course. It might get overexposed. It's already getting overexposed. The same thing happened with the New Day. The New Day, whenever they started off, they were doing really well. People were cheering for them, stuff like that. When they were heels, they turned them face. They overexposed them, putting them in main events and the start of the show and stuff like that. And they got overexposed. The thing is with Enzo and Cass is that they will get overexposed at a certain point. And when that happens, people will then turn on them eventually, right? It's inevitable. I also don't get the jokes. I don't know whether I'm European or something, but I don't know if it's just me, but I just don't get the jokes. I don't get it. And also I don't know. He looks like a leopard print Goku, Enzo Amore. He just looks like a leopard print Goku. I just don't get it. You know what I mean? I just don't get it, you know? And that's, like, listen, if you like them, more power to you. That's absolutely fine, okay? But personally, for me, I just don't understand it. I don't get it, you know? I will give them a chance, as I always do. I give Ryback a chance. I gave him 2 chances, actually. I remember when Ryback debuted, I didn't like him. Then I seen him live and shit, and then I went, oh shit, I actually like him. And now I like Ryback, okay? So for the sake of it, I will give Enzo Amore and Big Cass another chance. I will keep it with an open mind and see where it's going. But as far as I'm concerned at this point, I'm just not invested into them. I think I'm more of a Jeff Hardy fan and Matt Hardy fan, where I was used to the tag teams falling off chairs and tables and stuff. So maybe if I get out of that mindset, maybe I might like them. But honestly, from what I see, I don't see what the problem is. But yet again, I'll keep an open mind, WJ, because, you know, I like to keep an open mind. And I'll watch them for a few weeks, and then I'll come to a final decision on them.
Gallows and Anderson, they were split up from AJ Styles. They might possibly become the tag team champs there. I figure that they'll get it eventually. Maybe they might win it off New Day, and Enzo and Cass is going to beat them for the belt. I'm not sure, but is Gallows and Anderson going to team up with Finn Balor to form the Balor Club?
If they're smart, no.
No, would they hold them down? You think they would hold down Finn?
Yeah, I think the actual Bullet Club, okay? The Bullet Club itself, right? Were essentially, I think that they debuted completely wrong, okay? They did this thing where AJ Styles was like, I don't know if I'm your friends. Should I stay or should I go? And that didn't work out. What they should have done was not have the club at all anywhere near AJ. Then when AJ Styles attacks, like when AJ Styles is in a match, then you see a heel turn, and then it makes the moment more badass. So they're like, oh shit, the club's here, right? That's what they should have done. However, they debuted them from the crowd. It came off cheap. They said, "Hey AJ, you remember us? No, listen guys, you're my friends, but we're not together and stuff." And essentially, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
And I think their finishing move sucks. I rarely talk about shit like that there, but I think their finishing move is unimpressive. You know what I mean? They come in like if they're a big force, and the finisher just looks cheap. So it's hard to take the tag team serious or to get into them when they have a cheap-looking finisher. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Bada bing, bada boom, NF Punk is in the room. How you doing?
Number 2. Pretty good, man. Just been listening to this, and fucking one thing I can see with the whole like draft, like Raw, especially like you know, I do think have a very thin roster, as in like main event category. Like, are they going to keep building around, you know, Roman versus Seth, because, you know, that's been beaten like a dead horse already.
That's their only match that it looks like, you know.
Right, so I'm thinking this is what you could do. Obviously, fucking, you know, I heard you brought up Balor, and, you know, I was about to boycott fucking Raw if Balor went to SmackDown, because, you know, I think, I literally was. But, fucking, this is what I think will happen, okay? You know, if I was in the creative, right? Now, you question about Balor being the main event, correct? Now, what I would do there, man, like, since AJ is going to fucking SmackDown, I would build Balor up with the Balor Club, because now he can actually do that. And I'd make him as, like, you know, like a real dominant force, not like hashtag beat up John Cena. Never mind that gimmick, that was fucking brutal. But what I would do, I would build him up as like a star where he's beating the shit out of all, like the Seth Rollins, the Roman Reigns, you know. Pretty much that's all the main eventers they got. But
nobody.
Yeah, but but in a way though, if he was with a group like that where he was legit like beating the crap out of everyone, and like everybody knows like he would be the main guy from that group, he could play off well as a main event type of guy, just like AJ. But AJ was already a mainstream star anyways, right? So yeah, I kind of agree like with that, like what are they going to do, you know, in terms of the main event scene for Raw, because it is very lackluster. Brock Lesnar is only going to be there for what, SummerSlam and Royal Rumble and Mania, roughly. So like, there's only 3 things. Another thing, I think it was you, Jerry, I'm not too sure. You know, you brought up the thing about you know, the individual guys from the Shield, you know, draw the lowest ratings, right?
Yeah.
I always like question this, because like I heard like a few people say it, and it's like, here's the thing though, for 3 hours of Raw, we don't really watch, you know, the one champion for 3 hours, you know what I'm saying? It's more or less the product that they're giving us as a whole is a sleeper, and that's why, you know, we can't really blame an individual type of champion, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the fucking, like, show overall where people are like, oh, this is garbage, turning it off, you know what I'm saying? And I think that'll be in with any circumstance in this era now. Like, you could give the belt to fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the ratings would probably be the same. Probably 2.7 would be the highest, man. Think about it.
The issue, I think, that the thing is with the Shield is that it's not the actual guys there, right? It's not Dean or Seth or Roman, right? It's the storylines that's kind of surrounding it a little bit, and obviously, you know, the fact that it's 3 hours is too much. It really is. I don't know. I posted this on Facebook, and I even said, you know, was it 8 hours? We have to watch wrestling now next week. So it's 3 hours. The 3 hours of the pay-per-view, 3 hours of Raw, and then 2 hours of SmackDown. Like, that's a big lot of time for just wrestling.
And like, more, not just for wrestling, bro. It's like really hard on us as we are living in Ireland.
Yeah.
And fuck, man, shit going into like 4 a.m. in the morning.
Couldn't imagine that, staying up till fucking 4 a.m. to watch Raw. It's hard enough at just staying up till 11 o'clock for this shit. Can't imagine that. That takes a lot of dedication. We got the Big Show that's been drafted to Raw, so we see Big Show twice in a year. And he shows up and he's drafted to Raw. Nobody gives a shit at this point there. Are they going to have to resort, like I said earlier, to give us a Big Show feud? Are we going to get Roman Reigns versus the Big Show for the belt? I think they already had a shit feud, didn't they, before?
Yeah.
So are they going to do Seth Rollins against the Big Show? You know. So I don't know. Big Show can go fuck himself there. I don't hate the Big Show, but you know what I mean.
I want to ask you this, man.
We've seen Big Show wrestle for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? If I'd see him, I'd obviously mark out. If I'd see him on the street or something, but as a fan, it's not like we care there. We've seen it happen before. You know what I mean? It's not like we're going to be interested in this shit there. Robbie Battle, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing alright. How you guys doing?
NF Punk, you were going to ask me something?
Yeah, I don't know if any of you noticed, and this is what I just take from it. You know the way Baron Corbin was an early selection in the draft?
Yeah, and they're calling him a future world champion. Like,
right,
why?
And here's the key. When I seen Baron Corbin being like, you know, what was he, like a 6 or 7 pick for SmackDown, I was like, what the fuck are they doing here?
Yeah.
But then I was thinking about it. This is a dude that probably on SmackDown will get like a fucking Roman Reigns push. That's what I'm getting from that, because I see no other alternative why the fuck he was drafted. Especially, he's been having horrible matches with Dolph Ziggler for like a million fucking time on pre-shows. You know what I'm saying?
Let me blast through a couple names here real quick. The Golden Truth, they're going to keep doing their unfunny comedy there. And even yesterday they had Booker T talking with them, and Booker T mentioned something about R-Truth being the new age Booker T, basically, to be Goldust's partner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen that.
They acknowledged it, you know, but it's going to be more on funny comedy. They're talking about how they're going to become champs in the future. They want an opportunity, so expect some fucking garbage there. Nia Jax. I don't know, Robbie Battle, what's your thoughts on Nia Jax going to Raw there? Give us a big analysis of this there.
I like Nia Jax. I fuck her.
So you don't give a shit about Nia Jax?
No, not really. I'm just being funny. Not really. She, you know, they're all the divas. There's not really too many good ones. You know, if you think about it, it's like 2 main ones. Was it Charlotte and Sasha? That's about it, really. I mean, there's some okay ones, but them were the 2 main ones. You know.
So Neville, this guy could be in the cruiserweight division that they're gonna have on Raw. He could be a cruiserweight star. Jerry, what do you think it is? Neville as a cruiserweight star?
I don't know. If he's a cruiserweight, yeah, I get it. It's just that when he debuted, it was very disappointing. The thing is, though, he is like, I think, like in ring, he's a great talent. Like I remember seeing him live, when he was the NXT champion. I was watching him in Belfast, and he was really, really good. Like, the problem is, though, is that like it's just. I think it's maybe good that they're having a cruiserweight cruiserweight division. So obviously he fits that bill. So he will probably win the cruiserweight championship. But I don't think he'll like get no main event or anything like that. At most, he might win an intercontinental or United States championship, but there's no way he would be a main event. But I think maybe the cruiserweight division perfectly suits him.
Could be a good cruiserweight champ, yeah. Cesaro, we spoke about him earlier. Good wrestler there, but Cesaro's becoming a little bit watered down, in my opinion. It's always the same uppercuts and the twirl around shit there. What do you call it there?
Cesaro swing.
The Cesaro swing. It's becoming too, too many signature moves there, and he does just that now. Like before, he was explosive, and he did all kinds of moves that impressed the crowd. But maybe Cesaro will finally get his chance to get pushed in the world title scene. I don't know. I doubt it there, but you never know.
After that shoot thing he did, I doubt it, because he kind of called out a lot of people. Well, he didn't directly call them out, but it was a straight shoot what he did. So I don't know if he's gonna get in trouble for that or not, but.
Could have been a secondary champ on SmackDown, like the second world title. I wouldn't mind that there.
To be honest, man, like Cesaro and people might hate this opinion, but I don't apart from wrestling, man, there's nothing to him. There's no character, nothing. He lacks charisma, and it's the truth, man. The other fella is Sami Zayn. He looks like a fucking taxi driver. Fucking hell, man. It's what the hell are they doing here?
Yeah.
I heard you talk about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn about being main eventers. Fuck Sami Zayn, man. Kevin Owens to me, and I gotta be honest, he reminds me he's like a modern day CM Punk right now. So he has that loose cannon type of style where he'll say anything he pleases type of deal. But nah, man, Cesaro even as a SmackDown champ would be awful.
I mean, they got good theme music. I like it.
Sheamus, ladies and gentlemen. Sheamus, pretty much, he won the belt, and the company almost fucking crashed when he became champion. So best to keep the belt as far away from Sheamus as possible. But Jerry's your countryman there. What do you think of Sheamus?
Oh Jesus, Sheamus to me, I think he's the thing is that he shouldn't be in the main event. The problem was that I don't know, I can't explain it, but when he debuted, he was beating shit out of people and going crazy and stuff when he was a heel. And I thought when he was going to turn back in as a heel that it was going to be, it's the old Sheamus back again, but it just never happened. And I just feel that maybe Sheamus at this point might be a one-hit wonder. I think for the most part, in the next few years, Sheamus is just going to be at the most a mid-card champion. That's about the height of it. I think they're going to keep him away from the main event as much as possible. Because remember that League of Nations type of shit? That was just horrible. Absolutely horrible. So I don't know. Here's the thing. I like Sheamus because he's from Irish and stuff, but at the same time, it's kind of run its course. I think it's just run its course, and I don't know. He's I don't know. He's fucked
ginger.
up. He's ginger. That's the problem. Him and Sami Zayn, get them out of here.
Titus O'Neil, these kind of damaged goods there after they suspended him and stuff. I don't think they're gonna do anything with this guy really. There, he might become a U.S. champ or something down the line. They might put him back with Darren Young once the Bob Backlund gimmick fails. I'm not sure there, but Paige, you were talking about Paige earlier. Hopefully they're going to push her at some point again. You guys think 2016 is going to be Paige's year? I think they're going to go with Sasha Banks for now anyway there.
Yeah, I think 2016 is probably Sasha Banks getting the belt, and then they're going to push that. Oh, bit of an echo.
Robbie, you got some echo going on there.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, but you got some echo going. Go fit.
Oh yeah, but what I think, see Paige, right? I think after this whole Sasha Banks, you know, if she's champion, maybe turn Paige heel, because a lot of people like her. You know what I mean? And I think that she should definitely be in that realm of the main event as a champion. Did she get she got drafted to Raw? I believe. Was it Raw?
Yes, she's on Raw.
Raw. Yeah, they'll probably have her in amongst that kind of crowd, you know, the main event girls, and then all the girls that probably people don't care about will probably go with SmackDown, and then they'll try and get them over that way. So I think they're trying to like push this women's kind of division more, and I think Paige, obviously, you know, guys like her, girls like her, and I think she's good. I think she will be a women's champion again at some point. I just think just not now after this whole Sasha Banks. You know, I think once she gets the belt and has her time, then I think Paige will get it next. You know.
All right, let me blast through these leftover motherfuckers from the Raw roster there, and we can start talking about SmackDown. Darren Young, he'll possibly win the Intercontinental title this Sunday. I'm not sure there. The Bob Backlund gimmick might be a bit funny for a while, but I think, you know, after a while it's going to run its course. Nobody's going to really give two shits about Darren Young there. Sin Cara, nobody gives a flying fuck. I mean, really. Jack Swagger, many times they could have done something with him. They had a chance during the Rusev thing, you know. People were heavy, you know, backing Jack Swagger, and I highly doubt that he'll get a big push on Raw. You know, maybe if it was SmackDown or Superstars or something like this. But, you know, it is what it is there. He might give us some decent matches when we see him on TV once every 3 months there. The Dudley Boys, old shit is old. They can't do the tables. It's PG. If we didn't really care that much about the Dudleys when they came back, people were excited the first night, then they lost interest 5 minutes later. Possible that they're going to win the belts, but, you know, nobody gives two shits at this point there. Summer Rae, hot body. Face isn't the best, just like
she's
me
got a body
there.
for she's got a body for babe watching, a face for crime watching.
Just like me, not the best face, but I got the body of a fucking Greek goddess there, Jerry. But Summer Rae, whatever, she'll get beat in a 2-minute match once in a while. Just get her to do some dirty pics on WWE.com, and she can be worth something there. Mark Henry. Once every 5 months, he's going to lose the match to some jobber. I'm so goddamn excited. It's like the Big Show there. Nobody cares. It's possible they might try to revamp Mark Henry. Last time he was bald. He had a beard. Nobody cared. They might have him lose against somebody that's the champ there, but I doubt it.
I think he'll have a retirement match, like a championship retirement match or something, because, like, I think, like, him and Kane, obviously they've been with the company, like, forever, so, I think that they might do something with that. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Kane especially, I think, might have a championship, like, one final run. Either it might be a mid-card championship or, Lord knows, or a main event or something, but I think him and Mark Henry might have retirement matches either this year or next year, because I don't see them staying in WWE that long.
Braun Strowman. I'm happy that he's been separated from Bray Wyatt. I'll get back to Bray Wyatt later there. Braun Strowman, they might try to do something with him there, maybe change the Wyatt gimmick, because now he just looks like a big fat sidekick with no talent there. And when they were doing the gimmick that he wouldn't sell anything, I just fucking hated that. I thought it was crap there. Has no fucking skill, just fucking grabs a guy in a standing up choke. We haven't seen this guy do anything relevant in a while there, but who knows, he might become the greatest of all time in 2016 there. He might get released, I don't know. Bo Dallas, funny guy. I wish they could have done more with him, but Bo Dallas is another guy who could be a cruiserweight champion, possibly. A very funny guy. I wouldn't mind seeing him have his match and promo segment every week there. I don't know. Shining stars. Nobody cares. Next! Alicia Fox.
Who?
Next! We'll see you in 4 months in some shit match for 3 minutes. Dana Brooke, she's going to keep doing what she's doing with Charlotte Flair. That's about it. She might break away from Charlotte eventually and she'll have a match with her or something. I doubt she'll become the champion this year. And she's going to have sex with the wrestling Jesus. That's what she's going to do there. Curtis Axel. They might, I don't know what they're fucking going to do with Curtis Axel. He can be a job guy, I guess. Maybe a comedy guy. I don't know. Jerry, give us your analysis on Curtis Axel there. I want a fucking 30-minute deep fucking analysis
Deep
on
analysis?
Curtis Axel.
He sucks.
Enough said. Robbie Battle, you got something to say with your real voice there about Curtis Axel? Robbie's gone. So that's it, Jerry. You good to go for the SmackDown group? Or?
Yeah.
As I say, Curtis Axel sucks. He's
Curtis
very
Axel.
one-dimensional.
One-dimensional, man. So the SmackDown motherfucking roster. So you're sure you're good to go, Jerry, for another 30 minutes at least there?
Yeah, should too, yeah.
All right. So while I roll a joint there for the new roster, Robbie Battle, tell the people what you think of the current wrestling product there. Is there enough main eventers for a brand split and shit like this? There, give us your thoughts.
The only way I could see this working is if they move up the NXT guys and put them on one of the rosters. But just with the roster they have, I don't see it working that well. I mean, that's just my opinion now.
Because eventually it'll fill up with the. Well, you got that echo, god damn it. Like Peter Gilmore with the echoes. Because eventually they might bring Nakamura to Raw or SmackDown. They might bring somebody from the past, like a Kurt Angle or Goldberg. That's big dreams from the fans. That's not guaranteed to happen. They're going to bring in more guys from the indies. That's another thing that you're going to get. And on the shows is a shit ton of indie fans, you know what I'm saying? Or indie wrestlers that are, you know. So you're going to have lots of crappy guys like Zack Ryder and Sheamus and Mark Henry, shit like this that people don't care about. Apollo Crews, they're going to they brought in Mojo Rawley. You know, they're going to bring other guys from the indies. There's talk that they want to bring in old wrestlers from the past, you know. But I don't know. It looks like it's going to be a bit cheap there, the brand split.
Cheap.
Very, very cheap. I'm surprised Samoa Joe wasn't transferred over.
Yeah, they need Joe big time. That's another guy that they're going to need. They put Joe on SmackDown. You would have that vibe for it, you know? I would put
Yeah,
Joe on SmackDown and give him the world title, maybe not in 2016, but give him the cheaper of the two world titles. Well, that's if it works there, you know, if he catches on with fans, you know. You don't want to just rush a guy with the belt, but I could see Joe doing well on SmackDown, being a big star, you know what I mean?
hmm I think Joe I think would do well. I think on SmackDown. I mean, Lord knows I would even put him on Raw because it's so goddamn thin that Raw roster. So I don't know. Maybe they don't want to take everyone out of NXT, you know, to keep it legitimate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Surprised Nakamura, he wasn't transferred over. Surprised he wasn't.
The thing with Nakamura is because they have the network in Japan, they're pretty much using him to get the Japanese to buy the network so that they can see him on NXT because he's one of their gods over there. You know what I mean? You want to see your star, you got to buy my network. That's pretty much what's going on here. That's why they're signing a lot of Asian guys, and because they want the Japanese and now the Chinese, they want them to buy the network. But eventually he's going to go on Raw there. They have to because they have nobody. Plus he's good, so he might need a manager or something though there.
Yeah, because his English is a bit like it's like his English is not up to par. But like, you know, I think he might need a manager. But at the same time, he's kind of one of those guys that's like charismatic by not saying a word, if that makes sense. But like I said, for any like casual fans that might not know who he is, they might have to try and play it up maybe to casual fans, unfortunately, like where like I don't know, they may have to explain it to casual fans and all, because some of the casual fans might not know who he is. That makes sense. Like a lot of us, you know, will know who he is, and a lot of those, you know, Japanese fans and you know, Asian fans that love, you know, New Japan Pro Wrestling, obviously they know him, and you know, the guys that watch Ring of Honor. But to a casual fan, they might not know who he is. So I don't know how they would go about that. I'm sure they'll probably figure out a way. You know what I mean?
The thing with Nakamura, like I mentioned about Balor, he's not, well, I'm sure he's good to talk in Japanese there, but he has that charismatic look. You know what I mean? Like I was saying about Finn Balor, he has that image that's going to make him a star like Jeff Hardy. You know what I mean? The way he moves, and the fans are just into it. You know, it's like Brian. It's something people don't understand. Like Brian just comes out and smiles. He doesn't do it. He doesn't do much. He just looks at the crowd, and the people go mental. We're gonna have to talk about the GMs at the end there. Remind me in case I forget, Jer. So let's get into the SmackDown roster. I want to try to finish before NXT starts there. We got the Usos on SmackDown. Who gives a fuck about the Usos? I don't know. Usos, they might give them the belt on SmackDown. That's if there's a tag title, hopefully, on SmackDown. I'm not hoping for them to win the belts, because Usos as the tag team champions did absolutely nothing for me. You know what I mean? They sound like goofballs. They look like goofballs. They wrestle like goofballs. All they do is side kicks, and they jump in the air with a clothesline or something. it's always the same thing. Both brothers do the same moves. They each repeat the same moves 5 times per match. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and also that kind of, remember that whole family thing with Roman Reigns, that didn't help them that much.
No. Dean Ambrose on SmackDown. You know, it's a place for him to be a star there. I guess it's going to be good for him. It's going to give something for SmackDown. SmackDown at least has more guys that, like, I can imagine more matches to fill up the year, like pay-per-view main event wise. I can see it more with the SmackDown guys there. Well, not that many matches, but a few at least there. Ambrose is going to get to be a star on SmackDown. I don't think him as the big champ that it really fits well, though. It kind of looks unbelievable, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't really get it that much, me, with Dean Ambrose. Like, I understand the younger people think he's cool and stuff, you know what I mean? But I don't think his matches are that impressive, and I don't know. I don't think he fits like a big world heavyweight champ. He might be a good fit on SmackDown there. Maybe that'll change. He might become a bigger star down the line, but I think it's a good place for him. I guess it'll give him a chance to be the star there. Jared, what do you think of Ambrose?
I mean, I like Dean. You know, I really do. I think that I just feel that the storylines he was involved in is kind of his downfall. Like, that Brock Lesnar feud was just crap. And then obviously the Chris Jericho thing, like, it was cool to have that asylum, but it was very gimmicky. I think they might need to change not now, but maybe change the character up maybe in a few years, because it might run stale a little bit. I do understand why some people don't like him, because again, it's the storylines that he's been involved in hasn't been great. It's the same with the Shield all round. Like, Roman and Seth and Dean, their storylines just haven't gone according to plan, really. And I don't think it's necessarily their fault. I just think Dean, hopefully, I think it's a good choice for him to be on SmackDown, because obviously, you know, he's going to be facing guys like Cena and Orton and stuff, so it might get him over, you know, a little bit more, you know?
Yeah. Robbie, any thoughts on Ambrose?
Very unbelievable as a world champion. He's a good guy. Like, I think he's a good heel. I liked his heel character, like what he started with in the Indies. I think that's his best suit, but I don't see him being believable as a world champion. I'm like you. I don't see it. Maybe an Intercontinental champion or U.S. heavyweight, but a world champion, I just don't know, you know?
Like, even if he's a small guy, you know, it's not just because he's small. There's other guys like AJ Styles. We'll get into him next there. He's small, but he just seems like a real star. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain. Like,
oh man, he's done a 360 since he's been in WWE. Like, they've done really good with him. Like, I'm shocked at how, like, he's not that, you know, he's not good on the mic, but he hasn't been bad on the mic in WWE. So, I mean, I'm shocked with what they've done with him there. He's done a lot better there.
Like CM Punk, you know, small guy, Daniel Bryan, small guys, probably the two best that the PG era produced there, you know what I mean? But I know not everybody agrees with that, but you know what I'm saying? But Ambrose, it's not just because he's small. I don't know. It's there's something missing. You know what I'm saying? AJ Styles on SmackDown, perfect place for him to become a world champion. You know, I would have liked to see him on Raw there, but him on SmackDown, you know, I think this way they can fucking put the belt on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it'll happen for sure. He's got too much popularity. He's too over.
Jerry, what's your thoughts on AJ? I think you'll have good matches all year on SmackDown, even on free television there.
I think he's a great talent. I just think the club thing, it kind of ran its course. They could have done something more cooler than that. But however, I think it's a great decision, maybe breaking them up and maybe have Finn Balor with Emmons. Probably is a better fit. I think though AJ is kind of I think he does better on his own. I think he does. I think him and John Cena's gonna have a feud. I could see maybe him and Orton. Like there's a lot of matches that AJ can have, on that SmackDown roster. So I think, to me personally, like again, I don't want to be one of these which I think's gonna happen is you're gonna have Raw fanboys and SmackDown fanboys, but by the looks of it, SmackDown looks the better of the two, to be honest,
AJ Styles is probably going to be plastered in that main event scene for 2016 there. I'm not sure when they're going to do the next draft, if it's going to be exactly in a year, but AJ Styles isn't even like he hasn't won the belt, so technically he's not even like an established main eventer yet, There's only Ambrose, Cena, and Orton that are real main eventers on SmackDown. It's just SmackDown have a couple guys with potential to become world champs like AJ Styles,
Hey, WJ, Kyle's wanting to join. He sent me a message, but I'm on my phone. I don't know if Jerry could send him a link or if you want him to, if you said he can, or.
So if we want that troublemaker in here, tell him to hold on a little bit there. He can porn bomb us near the end of the episode. Kane! Just like Kyle there, I'm not interested in Kyle, not interested in Kane at this point in time, for God's sake, I don't know. They might do some
I think
comedy.
You'll have a retirement match, though.
They might do a bit of comedy with Kane. They might get desperate and have the Kane feud, which is just like the Big Show feud that some champs have to go through there. We haven't had these feuds in a while there. Just once in a while they decide that Kane is a main eventer for 2 months. You know what I'm saying? But they might have to do something like this because there's nobody. You know what I mean? There's guys. There's guys. I can see them being able to do stuff if they have multiple rematches and shit like this in the main event. I can see better main events coming from this brand because of Styles and Cena and stuff like this, There's Bray Wyatt that can finally get his chance there. But Kane, I hope we don't get another Kane fucking feud there in 2016. Fuck. I don't think anybody cares about Kane. There's nothing to add about him. John Cena on SmackDown. This fucking shocked me. Cena on SmackDown. I get it. They want to bring ratings to SmackDown. You know what I mean? And this also shows, Cena he's not going to be shoved down your throat on Raw. It's a new era. We're going to give you Roman Reigns instead, which is 100 times worse there. But if you take Cena off of Raw, that might fuck up the ratings. Even Dean Ambrose has a big fan base happening. So if you put these guys, especially Cena, exclusive on Raw or on SmackDown, that might take away some viewers from Raw. You know what I mean, Jay?
Yeah, I think Cena I think he's a perfect fit for SmackDown. I think he's obviously there's been rumors of him possibly retiring. So obviously he's going to work off a lot of guys in the ring, try and get them over. He's a key part of getting these guys over. I think the whole John Cena burial thing, I think they might be reducing that now because right now they know John's coming along. They can't have a quick fix anymore, so now they have no choice but to build up these rosters. So,
and that's what I'd like to see, more mid-card Cena matches where he pushes young guys, you know what I mean? And if he does become a world champ again, they should make him turn heel for that because the fans are going to be fucking pissed, you know what I mean? But for the moment, having him have good matches with young guys and him putting over young guys, I don't want him to get beat in every match, you know. The company, you know, they can't just destroy Cena either, you know what I mean? But Cena can have a competitive match with a wrestler where he gets beat, you know, on SmackDown just like that. It doesn't have to be a feud where Cena gets more victories than the other guy, you know. He can just fucking lose, you know what I mean? Have a fucking one-off match where he gets beat and then the guy moves on. Oh, this guy just beat John Cena. He might have a chance to beat Dean Ambrose for the title there. Baron Corbin, their future world champion, just beat John Cena last week. There. Is he going to have a chance to beat one of the vaudevillains who's the new world champ because there's nobody left, Jared? That guy with the mustache of the vaudevillains. That's going to be
that's
your
the guy
next...
that got in a fight with Sin Cara, apparently, like on SmackDown, apparently, and catering.
That's going to
One
be
of the
the
Val
new
villains
world
was
champ.
actually.
What happened?
Yeah, it's basically confirmed, but Sin Cara, you know, Hunico, he actually got in a real fight with one of the Ravel villains and actually knocked Sin Cara actually knocked him out. It's not the first time because that guy, the guy that plays Sin Cara, actually knocked out Sheamus before in a real fight. But apparently he knocked out fucking one of the Ravel villains.
Sin Cara looks small, but he's in shape. He could probably punch hard. I don't know. These vaudevillain guys don't look that tough either, you know.
I actually like them because at least they have like a gimmick that you understand.
Yeah.
It's unlike some of these other wrestlers, you don't know what it is, but at least with like it's corny as hell, but at least you understand what their gimmick is. You know what I mean?
I don't know how far they're gonna get. They're pretty much just being used as a jobber team there. You see them winning the tag titles on SmackDown?
Not anytime soon.
I think they're going to be a job team there. Randy Orton going to SmackDown. Is he back full time? I know there was rumors he wanted a part-time schedule. You know what I'm saying? Are they going to push Randy Orton? Should they put the belt on Randy Orton over a possible young guy? You know, if Orton's there all year and he's on SmackDown, then they're gonna have to put him in the main event. You know, if he's there all year, guaranteed he'll be in the main event. Maybe an AJ Styles and Orton feud or something.
The thing is though with this is that Brock Lesnar's on Raw and Randy Orton's on SmackDown. So how's that going to work in SummerSlam?
And one of the guys will end up looking weak, you mean?
Like, is Randy Orton just going to say something on SmackDown, Brock Lesnar's going to say something on Raw, then Randy says something on SmackDown, then Brock Lesnar says something on Raw? Is that what they're going to have to do?
Orton can lose and just say, fuck, what do you want? The guy was on steroids.
So was Randy, though. Randy was caught on roids as well.
Fuck, I don't know if
The veins.
it's in the veins, Jer. So Randy Orton, if he's there full time, they'll have to put him in the main event. Guaranteed. Hopefully we don't get another fucking Orton and Cena feud there.
Oh, I was about to say that. Sweet baby Jesus, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that doesn't happen at all, because if that, oh my god, I actually, I've got a bad feeling, WJ, I have a feeling that we're going to see another Orton Cena feud again, one final time.
And Orton, you know, he's not that entertaining there. That's another guy that this is back when they were just putting the belts on guys in order to put them over. You know, he was one of those guys that had that treatment there. It's not put the guy over and then give him the belt. It's give him 10 belts in 2 years and tell the people that he's a star. That's pretty much it. Apart, like him kicking McMahon and a couple things like this there. I don't know. He hasn't really done that well, Orton. Bray Wyatt. This is a guy there. If there's nobody in the main event spot, there's only Orton, Cena, and Ambrose that recently just became champion. Maybe this is the year that Bray Wyatt can get his moment there. I'm glad that he's being separated from at least a couple of Wyatt members, I think. They separated Strowman at least. It'd be good if Wyatt
What's
could go.
Luke Harper?
It'd be good if he could go by himself, you know what I mean? If he goes by himself.
I think he'll be the next Taker.
I don't know about the Taker. They did the Face of Fear thing. You never know.
I think that I think because they don't have, and again, I say this sarcastically, a mythical wrestler there, if that makes sense. Like, they don't have that kind of mythical kind of thing, you know, that, because Taker always fit that bill. I think that the problem was, though, is that they buried Bray Wyatt so many. Maybe on SmackDown they might try and make him a legitimate threat. That's what I think anyway. But I think, because if you remember, Taker was famous for, you know, being on SmackDown. You remember his run in, like, I think it was 2008 or something. So they might try and do that with Bray Wyatt. I think Bray Wyatt needs that, have the championship at some point to, you know, certify himself as, you know, as something, you know.
I'm hoping that this is going to be his chance. You know, all the Shield guys had their chance. Now I think it's Bray Wyatt's turn there pretty soon, you know. Put the belt on him on SmackDown. It's, you know, it might be entertaining. The guy has good matches. He can cut promos. Because with the fucking Wyatt family, he's stuck in goofy fucking storylines against tag teams and shit like this, you know. Fucking put him by himself so we can fight in the main event, you know what I mean? The guy can have a great match against anybody, fuck. He's had lots of good matches that were impressive. That's a guy that impresses people when he wrestles. Maybe not a shit match on Raw there, but if there's a big pay-per-view match, like his match against Bryan and stuff, that he can be good, you know. Robbie, anything to say about Bray Wyatt? All right, moving on. Becky Lynch. Apparently, this is the #1 girl that Shane McMahon wanted. She's the big star or something like this. I say bullshit. Bullshit. You know, she's a decent wrestler, but fuck. You know, even less.
A lot of people are liking her now. Like, a lot of women especially like her.
Like, she's hot. She looks hot. You know what I'm saying? Really hot, but she she has less charisma than Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? And that those promos, I don't know, fuck, very hot, but when she starts talking, it's like shit. Please stop it.
Do you think it's an accent thing? Do you think?
I don't know. Fuck, it's.
I think it could be like I think because I've noticed you know what they need, WJ. They need some training from the general how to talk. That's what they need.
Like she's not really. I don't know. Like Paige has an accent, but she can still excite the crowd. You know. Or it's just I don't know. Fuck.
The Irish accent is very hard to like if you're talking to like Americans or whatever. If you're speaking like very fast, which I think Sheamus in the early days used to do, and I think Becky Lynch kind of does it where she kind of speaks too fast, or when she's speaking maybe a little bit slower, it's kind of like, how's it going, Becky Lynch? Like it's a bit, I don't know, maybe I think that's maybe it, but like I noticed like a lot of women seem to like her because she everyone talks about her on Twitter. Like if you use the hashtag WWE on Twitter, everyone just talks about her on Twitter. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's them goggles, WJ. Maybe it's that anime stuff.
The way that they presented her, she might win the belt, I guess, on SmackDown when if they create a women's title there.
Yeah.
The Miz.
Oh, Jesus.
We're going to start blasting through these names here, Jer. We're going to take it home here. The Miz, fucking, I guess he's going to stay in the mid-card, the comedy guy. He's going to be, he's going to have a big match in the mid-card every pay-per-view like he does now, I guess.
Yeah. I don't like the Miz at all, so...
You see them pushing the Miz back in the world title picture, not even...
Fuck, I hope not.
Not even with this thin roster.
No.
He won't even get a he might be in the number one contenders or something. They're going to need guys to fill up those matches, but I don't think he'll be in the one-on-one match unless it's just like a one-off match on Raw there that you know he's going to lose, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Miz will still be the Miz there. Baron Corbin, he's probably going to be overrated as fuck this year. They're calling him a future world champion. I have a bad feeling they're going to push the shit out of this guy before he's ready. What do you think, Jer?
Oh, who's this, Baron Corbin?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. Nothing really strikes me about him. Really?
American Alpha, this is pretty much Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin 2.0. They're dressed like them. But I think these guys are good, you know. I think they might be good on SmackDown. These guys are, if there's a tag team title on SmackDown, they're going to win it. They're out of the teams that are on the list. I'm pretty sure they'll win the title. Dolph Ziggler, is he going to just post shit on the internet and about how he's good and how he's the best and this and that, and he's going to have matches that there's a couple false finishes, but you truly aren't entertained, Jerry? Is that what Dolph is going to do this year? General Jerry's muted there, but that's what I think Ziggler is going to do. He might be used in main events. You know,
WJ, I'm going to have to head here, mate, okay?
All right.
All
right. Have a good night, Jer.
All right. Sorry I had to leave early. It's just something's come up here.
All right.
But I'll speak to you later on, mate. And thank you all for thanks for having me on, mate.
All right.
All right. See you there.
Dolph Ziggler, like I was saying, he might be in the in the main event here and there to fill up some holes, but I don't think Dolph Ziggler as the world champion, they might do this just, well, I don't think they should do that. the guy, he wants to be a star. He tells people that he's a star and that he has potential to be a big deal, but he just doesn't feel like a real star, Dolph Ziggler. He just feels like a goddamn goofball, to be honest. It's not a guy that I want to see as the star, you know what I'm saying? But I'm sure they'll put him in main events and stuff like this there, but I think the whole Ziggler bandwagon shit is pretty much dead at this point. Natalia on SmackDown, I don't know if anybody cares, but I don't. Like Dolph Del Rio, Alberto Del Rio on SmackDown. Who knows? They might try to do something with him. Right now, they're just treating him like a jobber at this point. You know, they might try to revamp Del Rio and they might use him in the main event scene a little bit. I doubt that they'll put the world title back on him, but they might. You know, maybe not this year, but sometime when they get really desperate there. But Del Rio, I think they might at least use him like Ziggler to fill up holes in the main event. Kalisto, you know, this guy, when he was on the WWE network last night, when it was the draft there, the draft center, Kalisto was drafted to SmackDown, and then he cut an interview afterwards with Renee Young. Fucking one of the worst backstage interviews that I've heard ever there. This is like botchamania quality stuff there. I gonna do lucha things. That's what he says. He's like, I'm gonna do lucha things. Then he just jumps and like runs out of the camera. You know, it's like, the fuck is this shit? I don't know. I don't know what they can do with Kalisto. Maybe an intercontinental title, something like this there. Naomi is gonna go on SmackDown. I don't. She might lose a 2-minute match here or there. She's gonna wear her stupid shoes with the flashing lights, and nobody's gonna be impressed. And she might be a manager for the Usos. I don't know there, but I'm not gonna give two shits about what Naomi's doing, to be honest. The Ascension. They're going to be used as a jobber team. That's pretty much it. Zack Ryder. They might try to push Ryder. You know what I mean? They've been trying to push him on Raw. SmackDown isn't that important, so they might try to do a big deal out of Ryder, a mid-card title at least. Possibly a tag team with that Mojo Rawley fucking retard guy there. He was drafted to SmackDown, but who knows? They might even have Zack Ryder fighting for the world title. Never think he's going to win. Highly doubt he'll ever win the world title, not even the secondary world title, but he might at least get a world title match, at least on the SmackDown or something like this. Apollo Crews, he's going to do what he was doing on Raw, having a match that you're not going to care about, really. The guy is short, you know what I mean? He doesn't seem to have that much, charisma. At least they're not letting him display it. I don't know. If he has charisma, I didn't get a chance to see it because WWE doesn't let him talk or anything. So I expect Apollo Crews to be just there pretty much. Robbie, you expect big things from Apollo Crews?
Yeah, I think he could. He's going to be like a Bobby Lashley. I think I do see him going somewhere. He's pretty athletic too. I mean, we'll see. It'd be interesting. Is he with the Alpha Males, right?
People compare him to Bobby Lashley because he's black and muscles there, but he's short. He's really, really short. You know what I mean? He doesn't have the superstar look like Bobby Lashley. That's a guy that could have went far in WWE there, unless he would have been suspended like Titus O'Neil because he's black there. But I think McMahon really wanted to push him and make him a real star there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why Bobby Lashley left so quick. I don't know what's the story behind that. You know, because he left pretty quick.
Apollo Crews, I doubt they're going to do much with this guy. They're the guy from American Alpha. Because he's tall and he's big and he's a pretty boy or whatever. I'm sure that McMahon would maybe do something with him. You know what I mean? Like Titus O'Neil has the look and charisma, but he's old and stuff, and he was in that garbage tag team, so they made him look like a jobber. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that tag team would have got over if they would have kept that manager that they had originally. But they fired him because he was, I guess, using racial slurs or something. Remember the cat? The cat used to be their manager. Remember when they first, they were funny as hell when they had the cat when he was their manager. They was cool then, and then when they lost him, they kind of like just faded.
And then they get rid of him because he cut the promo of some kind there.
Yeah, he said. I think he was picking on that. Who was the Hispanic girl that he was picking on? She's hot as hell. I can't think of her name. That the Rose Mendez, wasn't it? Was it her that he was? It was something to do where he said something racial and they let him go because of it. You know, but I thought that was their best time. They were over then, and then when they got rid of him, they just. And then when the guy came out of the closet, I mean, nobody's ever going to take. You know, I have nothing against homosexuals, but you know, let's face it, wrestling's kind of like a, you know, most guys that watch wrestling, they're not homosexual. They're not going to take
a lot more fans that are like that than we think. Not that I have a problem with that in any way. I don't have a problem with Darren Young or anything like that. But the guy from American Alpha, that's a guy that I think McMahon could push or at least try something. You know, he has the look, you know what I mean? People want a black champion, you know what I'm saying? So I think that guy might have potential to. This is based off of it, the look that I know McMahon likes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a guy like Bobby Lashley that they might push off of the look alone. You know what I'm saying? But
I wonder how much longer McMahon's going to be involved, though. Like, I kind of wonder, like, he's getting up there.
He's a smart guy. He's still gonna run it. I don't think he's gonna die anytime soon, McMahon. But what I was saying, I don't think Apollo Crews is gonna be that big star. Like even on these pre-shows and draft shows last night, they were talking on WWE Network about how we got lost in the shuffle. You know what I mean? They're already talking like if he's not impressing the fans. You know,
who's that?
Apollo Crews. So I highly doubt they're going to do because he did get lost in the shuffle. But it's not really his fault. You know,
it isn't. I mean, he's done a good job. He's went out there and did what he's needed to do. I guess he don't really talk a lot. That may be the only thing that may hurt him is he don't really talk. You know, he's kind of like
when they brought in the NXT guys, they had them all placed in the same exact time slot for like a month, you know. They had Apollo Crews like at 10 o'clock every Monday. He had his match, and then he just disappeared for 2 months because he didn't really catch on, you know. It's hard too in the third hour. That's when they lose all the viewers.
That's when everybody's like this.
They
like
pretty
me.
much, they probably, maybe they thought, hey, this guy's losing a bunch of ratings. He's not ready. Let's get him out, you know. They might try to use him better this time on SmackDown, but I don't think this guy is going to be a big star.
Honestly, what's the draw to Raw? I mean, judging by what I've heard from you guys, Raw don't have hardly shit in it. Why would I even want to watch Raw anymore?
And it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot worse when there's only 3 stars on Raw, and one that's never there, Brock. So
yeah, I wonder if they're going to suspend him over the. You know, he failed 2 tests now. So yeah,
Alexa Bliss going to SmackDown. Now that is one fucking hot fucking bitch. I don't mean to say bitch there. I don't want to sound like a sexist guy. I don't refer to women as bitches.
Jenny McDermott here.
Yeah. She's fucking hot as fuck, man. She's not like she's not a good wrestler like Sasha Banks or whatever there, but she's fucking hot as hell, and she has charisma, you know.
Big boobies too.
She can make good faces and shit like this, you know. So I'm happy to see her on a show there. Show us close-ups of her body, for fuck's sakes. Do something. You want ratings, use her body. And don't use Breezango that was drafted to SmackDown. This is just like, at least they're gonna separate from R-Truth and Goldust, but what the fuck are they gonna do? Just cheap comedy.
So Bree in SmackDown?
That's Tyler Breeze and Fandango.
Oh God, Fandango.
They're not. They could have put
hard.
Tyler Breeze in the cruiserweight division.
Yeah, something different with him. That's just, I don't know.
But he's pretty much fucking destroyed him. Whatever he had on NXT has been destroyed, you know. And that's the difference between the indie crowd and the main crowd. You know, you go to an indie show like NXT has that indie atmosphere like that, you know. So they're gonna cheer for a guy like Tyler Breeze, you know. It's a lot of fake cheering. They cheer just to be heard a lot of times. They want to do fancy cheers. Hey, look at me, how fancy I am with my hip cheers. You understand, Robbie? A lot of times they're not truly marking out. Like when Nakamura comes out, they're humming his song. You know, that's not a legit cheer. When Nakamura does a big kick or a big knee and the place is like, holy shit, you know, that's legit. That's a legit cheer. That's a cheer that the fans, you know, it's a real reaction. When they're just there, that's not a real passionate cheer. They're just trying to be heard. So a lot of these guys like Tyler Breeze, they get cheered by these indie fans like this, and it's fake garbage cheers. So when they get in front of the big crowd, the crowd is like, who's this fucking little, who's this male stripper that's fucking, he weighs 50 pounds and he's unfunny there. Who's this guy there, you know? The fans aren't going to start fake cheering for nothing, you know. Sometimes it depends which crowd is going to do that kind of shit on Raw too there.
Yeah, they may have gotten over back in 1994 with Alice Wright or something, but no.
Yeah,
I don't think Tyler Breeze is going to go anywhere.
no, this
kind of
is
bland.
not working. Someone that the fans don't like, and I'm interested in seeing what she's going to do. Eva Marie. She gets that Roman Reigns heat that the fans just legitimately hate her fucking guts, you know? Me, when I look at Eva Marie, I think fucking this bitch is hot as fuck. I don't,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think to myself, fuck this bitch, you know? I don't think there's any female wrestler that ever made that. Might be a bias because I find her attractive. I give her a pass. I don't know.
Hell, I find about most of them attractive. Most of them I wouldn't mind fucking. I mean, I'll be honest with you, even the ones that aren't good wrestlers, I'd still like to do something with them. But I'm like you. I don't know. I think she might be okay though, because she draws heat. Maybe they could use her. If she gets better wrestling, who knows? Look at Sable. Sable wasn't that great, but the women made her look good. Like she had what was it, Luna Vachon and all of them made her look good. That's what I'm saying. And maybe she practices long enough. Maybe she can carry on a match somewhat. It'll be interesting to see though.
A lot of people are saying that about Alexa Bliss, that they remind her of, they're reminded of Trish Stratus. Have you seen people say this? That I guess because of her looks there, I don't know if she'd be good like Trish Stratus.
Trish is pretty good though. I mean,
it's hard to compare. You don't want to compare her with one of the best because then she's going to fall short, But I think she can definitely be used for her looks, like Velvet Sky in TNA. Velvet Sky, terrible in the ring. You know what I mean? But she's hot. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Very hot, and she would get a lot of the views in TNA. You know what I mean? The knockouts would get the highest ratings a lot of times, So they could do, this Alexa Bliss girl could be used there. But Eva Marie, like you were saying, she's a girl that could be used for this legit hate. Like I said about Roman Reigns, I don't know if it's safe to do that with Roman because he can get rid of the fans. If the fans legitimately hate his guts and he's like, fuck you, don't watch me if you don't like me or something. I'm the star here, deal with it. And the fans might be like, hey, fuck this, I'm done. You know
Believe that.
But somebody like Eva Marie, it doesn't really matter if she does that,
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna quit watching over Eva Marie, what I mean? So they could definitely use the hatred in her case there. She'll get booed out of the building either way, so.
You think wrestling fans are a lot different than what they were in the 90s. In the 90s, they would have loved Eva Marie just because her being hot. Now, you got more of the little indie fans that are real particular on their wrestling. Everything's got to be precise. So yeah, they're not going to give her a chance at all. That's just how it is.
Eric Rowan, Robbie.
Oh, he's horrible, Eric Rowan. God, he's so slow and just one-dimensional. Him, Curtis Axel, Brawl Strowman or whatever his freaking name is. That one's another one I don't care for. He's a big guy, but that's it. He's just big and slow. This is like the big and slow crowd. Like it ain't. The other Wyatt didn't get drafted, right? I didn't see it. I'm listening to what you guys are saying about the draft. But what I've heard from you guys, the Raw don't really have much to offer. I mean,
What's the name of the other Wyatt again?
Luke, ain't it? Luke Harper.
Luke Harper. Yeah,
He's okay. He's better than Eric, but
he's injured right now. I don't think he was drafted anywhere. I hope they don't just put him on SmackDown and just keep Bray Wyatt again with those two guys. I want Bray Wyatt to be by himself.
Yeah,
and Luke Harper has an image. You know what I mean?
He makes those weird faces. Yeah, he's got that. I think he could be something. Actually, he's got it there. Eric's
got the faces. He's got the. He can also talk. We only hear him talk a little bit, you know, but he sounds like he could talk. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'd like to see him by himself. Not push him, but let him do something on his own. Let Bray Wyatt be on his own, you know.
Yeah.
Mojo Rawley, that's the hyped guy there. I don't really give two fucks about him. He'll probably end up with Zack Ryder there.
Yeah, him and Zack Ryder could form a tag team or something and go for a tag team.
I'm always excited. Oh, look at me, I'm jumping around. You know, after 3 weeks, the fans are gonna lose interest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, those indie fans love him though. They those NXT fans, they love him and they love all of them people like that. So.
And the last fucking name, I know I've been going live for a long time there. That's why I went live, because the shit is long. It's gonna take time there. Carmella. She might have been better with Enzo and Cass on Raw. Who knows? I guess WWE just doesn't want them together for some reason. Maybe they have plans for her on her own. Carmella, she's not that great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's not talented. Like, I don't want to keep saying Sasha Banks there, but she's not a Bailey. She's not a Sasha Banks. And where the fuck is Bailey? Why wasn't Bailey drafted?
Exactly. Like, she definitely should be pulled over here soon. Like, that's insane. You know,
like I have nothing against Carmella. She's cute and all this. I'm sure she'll get better with time there, but she doesn't have any presence there like the other ones. She's just a female Enzo and Cass there. That's not gonna take off. But where the fuck is Bailey? Why isn't Bailey? Robbie, big tough guy wrestling fans there. All over the internet, all over Twitter. I see him every fucking day. Bailey retweets these pictures all the time. Big, tough-looking guys and, you know, wimpier guys. All kinds of people with Bailey T-shirts. A shit ton, man. And she's only viewed by a portion of the audience on the network. And she's selling a shit ton of T-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Why the fuck isn't she on Raw? Why isn't she on Raw to promote these shirts? What's the problem?
Need to put her on Raw or SmackDown, definitely, because help that women division out. They can pull her up. I mean, they could pull that over. What's the Japanese woman? They could pull her on Raw or SmackDown, and I mean, they got talent, man. I mean, they got a whole card of wrestlers. You know, that's what I'm saying. That's the only way I could see them doing the brand split is pushing. Maybe I don't know. Are they gonna keep doing the NXT, or are they gonna get rid of it? I mean,
no, that's still going. Joe is the champ and stuff.
Yeah, that's my thing. I would just get away. If I'm gonna do 2 brands, that's 3 different brands. If you think about it, that's a lot. Maybe just if you're gonna do the 2 brand split, go ahead and just put all those guys on. That's the way I would do it. But of course, I know you were talking about earlier. how they were trying to get the Japanese fans to watch NXT, you know, or to watch it, or to get the network. So that may be why they don't want to do away with NXT. I don't know, but it would make sense for them just to do away with that and put them all either on, you know, SmackDown or Raw. But I guess they don't, you know, they're gonna keep that.
I highly doubt they're gonna get rid of NXT. That's it's bringing in a lot of indie people and shit like this.
Like
you
the
know,
wholesome fans, you know, they people that don't like WWE will actually watch it.
and it's a big part of the network. It gives something for the indie crowd. Oh, I don't like WWE, but I like NXT or whatever, you know.
Well, I like TNA. It's so awesome. Yeah.
Like NXT, the specials can be very fucking not only good but great sometimes. You know what I mean? The specials, the show itself, I don't know, but it's a big part of the network, you know. So
You think they should try to get Brother Nero or Matt Hardy to come back, maybe?
one day, I'm pretty sure it'll happen there. It doesn't look like TNA's going anywhere right now, but
Oh, yeah.
he's one day he's gonna
Yes.
end up going back.
They
Maybe
said they did
not
pretty.
Matt there.
They said their ratings went up pretty good for that segment. They got really good ratings, so I mean, I guess, you know,
100,000 something.
yeah, for them that's pretty good because they don't generally get but like 200 or.
So overall, there, when you look at it in the sense that it's only for a year until the next draft, you know, they can do 2-3 pay-per-views of Styles Ambrose, 2-3 pay-per-views of Ambrose Cena, 2-3 pay-per-views of AJ Orton. Oh, they have enough main events or whatever.
Well,
When you look at it at face value, these rosters are pretty fucking thin. Like I said, there's only about three legit main eventers on each show. Rollins, Reigns, and Lesnar, that's only part-time. You got Jericho, he's a former main eventer, not being used though right now as a main eventer, and he's leaving next year. There's a couple of guys with potential to win the belt. Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, stuff like this. Sami Zayn, I don't think he's ready right now for the belt there.
yeah, I don't like his theme music. I wish they'd change his music. It's goofy to me, but yeah, a lot of people like him though. He's got a lot of fans.
Like, I don't know what the fuck they're going to do on Raw. They're going to have to give the belt to somebody new because I don't know if you know, the fans, are they going to want to see it just like that? They're 8 months of Roman Reigns and 4 months of Seth Rollins, let's say, until next year.
Is Roman Reigns getting the title on Raw, or what's going on with?
He's in the triple threat.
Oh, that battleground match.
It's the Shield triple threat, so it could end up being Rollins and Reigns. One thing that does interest me about SmackDown is Daniel Bryan, you know.
Yeah.
That, you know, if we get a couple of Bryan segments, but at the same time, it's going to be depressing because...
Yeah, because he ain't wrestling, yeah. I mean, that's, you know...
Yeah.
And you know, that's the thing. Like, Daniel Bryan was a good wrestler. Like, him just out there talking, it's kind of like Mick Foley. I mean, nothing against Mick Foley, but I don't know. I'm just not excited to see him. You know, to me, he was good in the ring. You know, when he was Mankind and Dude Love and all that. That's when he was. You know, I don't really care for his comedy. You know, it's kind of lame to me, but. You know,
like it'll be a heel Mick Foley a little bit. I'm not sure there.
That might be funny if he does the heel, but you know, Mick Foley.
Shane
I like
McMahon. Shane isn't that entertaining right now.
Oh, what happened to him? He was like, he was really funny back, in Attitude Era. He's just so dull now. It's like, hey everybody, are you guys ready for Raw? Just like very monotone. Like, I don't know.
We're gonna have lots of rematches because the roster's gonna be small. Like during the brand split, remember it was Matt Hardy against MVP for like a year.
I remember
the
that.
Same fucking match. Same match all fucking year, Me, I stopped watching SmackDown back then. During the first brand split, I stopped watching it. But
what enticed them to bring it back? I know that they're trying to do something to bring the ratings up, but I mean, I just don't like I was telling you, their roster's not big enough to do it unless they're gonna pull everybody from NXT and have them wrestle 2 shows. That would be the only way I could see it being successful. Then that kind of devalues NXT. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to be like you're saying. It'll probably be okay at first, and then it'll fade out. People will get tired of it.
It's going to be really, really watered down there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first brand split, you had the Undertaker and stuff like this that were active. You had old guys, you had the new guys like Cena, Batista that were coming up and stuff. Now it's you got a couple of guys that are that have potential, but even the stars right now aren't even fucking fully stars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Dean Ambrose just won the world title. We don't know if he's truly capable of being the main guy. It's probably going to be Cena, obviously. That's going to be the main guy on SmackDown.
Wherever Cena is, if Cena's on SmackDown, that's going to make SmackDown the best show. That's their baby face. Why would they put him on SmackDown if Raw's supposed to be there? I always thought Raw was like their better show.
It's going to hurt the roster.
Who's going to want to watch Raw? I won't even watch it.
Or
to be honest
hurt
with
the
you.
ratings,
Yeah. I'll just watch SmackDown. Hell, you got AJ Styles. Who all's on SmackDown? AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose.
AJ Styles, Ambrose, Cena, Orton.
Yeah,
That's it. Wyatt. Couple guys like this there.
It was like
got
SmackDown.
lots of bums like Kalisto, Ascension, Ryder, Apollo Crews, Breezango, Eric Rowan, Mojo Rawley, Miz. It's all guys that aren't going to do anything, There's three main eventers, about 2-3 guys on each show that have potential to become main eventers. And the rest is just pure fucking garbage. It's pretty much.
Yeah, they should have left it. I think they should have just left it the way it was. I think it's gonna hurt doing that.
They're gonna have to bring in guys from outside and bring him in. Bring up Joe Nakamura. Do something because, like the current product as it was like last week. It was hard to have a good show with the full roster together, with every single match possibility all under one show. You split the group in half. How better can it be? Let me split up. Let me make less match possibilities. How can it improve with less matches, with less stars on the same show? How the fuck is it supposed to improve? They might do better matches, shit like this, but I doubt it. It's not, it's the brand split, so it's going to be like the Attitude Era again. It's not like that. It's just, they're just dividing the group.
Is Raw changing their rating to mature audience or something like that? Or,
absolutely not.
no. Well, who was it? I thought I saw something on YouTube about one of the shows changing their ratings. I guess more to be more mature.
That's just for the cartoon, maybe.
Oh god, that's
Their little cartoon, but for this year, it might be exciting at first. People are gonna say, "Hey, SmackDown is the better show. I like SmackDown more. It's not as long. It's got AJ Styles, blah blah blah." But I think in the long run, it's gonna hurt the ratings.
It will. It's gonna hurt Raw because you got your best people on SmackDown. It's gonna. I don't what Raw's supposed to be their shining star of the show. I mean, they're pretty much. It's gonna kill Raw. SmackDown, they'll help SmackDown up, but SmackDown's always been low on ratings. Even when they were good, they were low, on ratings historically. I think the only time they were high on ratings was back in Attitude Era.
Attitude, it was big numbers, but it was always a bit smaller than Raw there.
Yeah, it was always a secondary show, right? I mean, that's the thing.
That might happen. The ratings of SmackDown, I'm pretty sure they'll go up, because now there's a reason to watch it. You have to watch SmackDown to watch some of the wrestlers you like. Cena's going to be there. Obviously, the rating of SmackDown will go up, but the Raw rating might go down. They might end up being the same.
That's
like Matt says, you're going to fight for ratings, but they might fight for ratings at 1.6, 1.7, both shows,
The thing is, too, like, I've heard Vince McMahon says he don't care about ratings anymore and stuff like this. It's almost like they're just okay with being mediocre. Like, they don't want to push the envelope. They just want to do enough to give us, like, 1 or 2 good matches every so month. And then we got to watch a bunch of mediocre garbage, It's just, that's why I can't get into it. It's like you got to sit through so much garbage to get to a good, legit pay-per-view or, a good match. I think that's their problem. They don't put enough good quality in their shows to get people to want to follow it,
Good for Raw, good for SmackDown, but Raw, not too sure. So, Robbie, thanks for joining me today there for the draft results and analysis, Robbie. I'd like to thank NF Punk and General Jerry for being on. Kyle was going to come on there, but we ran out of time, Kyle. Sorry, we had to go there, but so, that's it, folks. I think it's going to be a troublesome ahead. There are no fucking main eventers on these shows. Lots of fucking garbage wrestlers that nobody cares about, and they're going to bring in more indie guys that people won't care about. Trouble is up ahead, folks. How low can they go? Until next time, peace.